So it's been 4 years since I've unleashed this abomination onto the internet, and I still think it's funny. It's still the worst low kick I've ever seen in a video game. But then I started comparing it to other much better looking low kicks in fighting games, and the thought crossed my mind. Low kicks. They're pretty weird, aren't they? Animating for fighting games often means striking a careful balance between realism and stylization. No matter how fantastical the fighting style, it still takes some degree of physicality to make the animation feel like it has weight and movement, and not like you're puppeting a weightless 3D model in virtual space. And for most fight animation, you can always rely on having some sort of real-life reference to draw on. But low kicks don't really happen in real fights the way they do in fighting games, do they? If you were kicking below the belt, it would probably look something more like this. Sometimes you see these full-body leg sweeps in kung fu films because they're flashy and exciting, but you don't see these full crouching toe kicks the way you do in fighting games. So why is it that fighting games have been using these awkward crouching kicks for decades without ever bringing them into question? To answer that, we need to look into the purpose of the low kick and why they are designed to look like this. At the purest, most basic level, fighting games are about attacking and blocking. You attack to hit the other guy until he gets knocked out, and you block to prevent yourself from getting knocked out. But blocking isn't infallible. It needs a weakness, otherwise there'd be no way to win against it. Aside from throws, to hit someone who is blocking, you have to hit them where they are not blocking. So if they are blocking high, you must hit them low. With this theory in mind, it falls to an animator to convey this concept visually. So to design a low kick, there needs to be two distinguishing features. It must be performed from a full crouch, and it must be aiming at the lower body. But hold on, if any crouching attack aimed at the lower body is a low attack, is this a low attack? According to the rules, no, but this is where low kicks need one additional distinction. They need to aim really low. Most of the time, a low kick is going to be aimed at the ankles or even the feet, regardless if the attack is a kick, a punch, or even a weapon strike. The most important thing is for the attack to convey the necessary information: the low profile, low aiming strike, and the attack's relative strength. Low kicks might also come out differently based on how a fighting game treats blocking. In 2D fighting games, low attacks are fast and overhead attacks are slow, which makes low attacks the most dangerous because they are difficult to block, have good reach, and are easily confirmable. So dangerous, in fact, that players measuring the distance of their enemies' low pokes versus their own is how the term footsies came about. In 3D fighting games, a character's fastest and most powerful moves are likely to be mid-hitting and requiring a standing guard, so low attacks tend to be slower as a result. In fact, low kicks in Tekken are so risky because getting a low kick blocked forces your character to stumble backwards awkwardly. The rules of the game will always dictate how a low kick should look, and as with any art, limitations breed creativity. So now that we know the logistic difficulties of designing low kicks, how do we actually animate them? First, we start with a character's crouching posture. But now that I think about it, crouching is also kinda weird, isn't it? I mean, sure, there is precedent for ducking and weaving beneath high-aiming strikes, but it's pretty much unheard of to actually plant your entire body weight into a full crouch in the middle of a fight. It's at this point where an animator needs to work almost entirely in the realm of fiction, since there is no real-life equivalent to draw reference from. From a crouching position, your body mass is closer to the floor, which severely limits your mobility since human beings aren't meant to move like this. It's like trying to fight while inside of an air vent. Keeping balance in this posture makes it difficult to move your legs, so you typically have to shift your weight to allow yourself to throw out a leg with any degree of force. Notice how even in this crouching light kick, Ryu has to plant his hand on the floor to get enough balance to throw out the kick. His crouching medium kick requires Ryu to push out with his hand and force his body forward to get that reach with his back leg. Some low kicks involve planting your hand and propping your entire body up. Sometimes they involve laying your entire body down or sliding on the floor. Sometimes it just means throwing out all of your body weight at once. The most important part is that all of that weight has to go somewhere. Which takes us back to Kitana's stanky leg kick. Much of why this is still the worst low kick I've seen in a fighting game is because it fails to take any consideration to everything I've just described. This is supposed to be a low-hitting attack, but Kitana is aiming upwards. She's also not shifting her body weight at all, despite crouching, and without shifting her posture, she also can't get a lot of reach with her leg, meaning the only thing it can do is flick upwards from the knee. Without anything to provide balance or leverage, the only way this kick even happens is if we just pretend that gravity doesn't work for a split second. This kick would be easier if she weren't trying to aim upwards, which she shouldn't be doing in the first place because it's a low kick. I know it sounds obvious when I say it out loud, but this is the sort of challenge that goes into fighting game design that often goes for granted. A low kick needs to be functional first before anything else, and animators must work within the constraints of hitboxes and data to produce an attack that still looks appealing and in character, and most importantly, feels right to the player. And the fact that we've been going on for decades now without even questioning these low kicks means that they've been working. That's all for today's A.B.I.torial. Don't forget to leave a like and let me know in the comments what you think. Be sure to low-kick the subscribe button and special confirm onto the notification bell for more anime and game content from SugarPunch. You can get early access to all of our future videos on our Patreon, so be sure to check it out and support the channel. I'm A.B.I., and I'll see you later.